of the world, Supersonic's money transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonic's money transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.
Salam Bitik. Salam Bitik moo leen ay nuyu askan bi, jox leen ma seen noppa si wàllum téléphone di Samsung di Nokia Spark xeetam boo xalaat Salam Bitik am na ko. waaye tablet yaa ngi fa, router yaa ngi fa, data card yaa ngi fa. xale yi nag seeni tablet ñu fa, xale yi ñu bég la Salam Bitik buka, waaye mag ñi ñu kontaan xataay leen ñu dem Salam Bitik si Kairaba Avenue Johnson yi Manjai Kunda bi foofu la gaay nekk. soo demee si Salam Bitik di nga fa fekk téléphone yu baax. call leen Abdoulaye Cissé si 3939939 mbete it ngeen call ko si 5050150 nuyu leen ma Salam Bitik. Welcome back to another edition of the Gambian Talents Forum. You're watching the Gambian Talents TV with Fatou Samber. Today we are right here with the Minister of Information and Communication, Honorable Ebrima Sillah.
Thank you so much, Fatou.
All right. Mr. Sillah, we have learned that the longest that your government of the Gambia has issued a moratorium, otherwise a temporary ban for the issuance of license for media houses to operate. Can you please confirm this to us?
Thank you so much. Let me make a qualification here. We have not put a temporal ban on all the media houses. What we have done is to put a moratorium on the issuance of commercial radio license in the country, because we are currently reviewing the Information Communication Act that actually regulates the issue of commercial radio stations and also, community radio stations in the Gambia. The act is very old. I think it first came in 2009, and that a lot of things actually has happened over the years. And also looking at the dynamics of the sector, it is important that we have a robust, policy in place that will look at a lot of things that is dynamic enough to deal with the current trends in the media industry. Let me give you a classic example. For example, we have seen over the years that commercial radio stations, were issued license and they are linked to GSM companies, and that rather than those GSM companies now advertising with the commercial radios, they take all their advertisement to a radio station affiliated to them. And this has kind of, shifted the balance. And it has kind of created some monopoly in the sector. So this has to be critically looked at, in the policy. I have not known anywhere in the world where GSM companies also own radio stations to compete with commercial radio stations that, with all honesty, are really struggling. Also, there are a number of weaknesses in the act that really require strong attention from the authorities, because we have seen people who have no, connection with media and media work, but they are purely business people who are on radio stations. Some of them, they don't even understand the rudimentary issues, pertaining to the profession. And as a result, we have seen a lot of media houses, commercial radio stations that either don't pay their staff a regular monthly salary, or they pay them really very small amount of money for a salary, that it actually encourages all kinds of unprofessional conduct in the sector. So what should we do about this as policymakers? Because that is our responsibility. If we are going to give a radio license to people, what should be, the accompanying responsibility on the part of those that have the license to operate professionally in the country? That is extremely very critical and is important, so that the sector is well regulated for the best interests of the media workers, the consumers, and also the general public.
That's quite interesting. So how long has this moratorium been on?
Well, when I came in and I looked at all these things, I thought it necessary to really bring in something that will deal with a whole lot of issues. Because, one of the biggest problems that we have in this country is the policies. After being in power for 4 years, we have now seen why it is so important to have robust policies. And that is why all these things are happening. The moratorium is in place. We are now doing the consultancy, to recruit the consultants actually to review the overall act. And then, then they will, formally present their report. And this report will be validated by the stakeholders. And then, of course, it will be taken to cabinet for approval. And then, if there is need to take it to the National Assembly, because we are changing the act, that may also have to be factored in. So I don't want to give an exact time frame to this, but it's work in progress, and we are doing it in the best interest of all the critical stakeholders.
Some people say that this is a way for your government to suppress the voice of the citizens. What is your reaction to this?
But any responsible government also should come up with right policies to see that the right things are done. Are you happy with what is happening now in the sector, where journalists will work for the whole month and then they will not get paid? Are you happy that those that should advertise with the commercial radio stations are competing with them? Are you happy with the kind of, the unprofessional attitude of some of the people that are not even, given the right training, and they go on air, they do all type of stuff? Are you happy with that as a journalist? Because I do know that Gambia Talent, for all, what it takes, they do a lot of training for their staff. Should you not be proud of that? And should not be seen to be at least something that should be adopted by, if you call yourself a radio station, it is not only about, doing gossip on your platform. It is also about entertaining, educating, and also contributing to the overall information sharing mechanisms of the country, so that people can make informed choices. But if those people that are supposed to do that are not paid, are not, motivated, and also the policies are not there to guide them, how do you expect us to have, a very professional sector? At least I can give you an example of myself. When I started Citizen FM, for example, all those that we started with, they can tell you, even before we could be doing anything in the office, we were at Radio Gambia for 6 months. Your role there was just to observe, to be trained, how to do things. Then, you will be introduced to how to edit, public notices. Progressively, then, you are put through the very rudimentary things. How many radio stations are doing those kind of, rigorous training for their staff? And then there was always a continuous, capacity building to ensure that you meet the professional, minimum criteria. So today, even when you go to, events, you can see those who are trained and those who are not trained. The way questions are asked, you can tell. But that should not be the fault of the journalists alone. The media houses also have a big responsibility to contribute to the capacity building. And the Gambia Press Union over the years has been doing a lot of that. So I think, we should all look at this, within that perspective and see that, we have a sector that is something to be proud of as professionals.
Indeed. Can you tell us how many media houses your government has issued TV license since you took over office?
Well, all the new TV stations that you see, apart from GRTS, of course, their license were issued by this new government. So we are talking of QTV, Paradise, now iAfrica, Star TV, the Ahmadiyya TV. Yeah. So all of them, they got the license.
And that's quite interesting. We talk about commercial businesses, that is, let's say, people that should have advertised with media houses, owning televisions.
Available. So nobody should be blamed for that. I think, the issue of the review should have taken place first before we started issuing license. But the demand, of course, of the general public when we, brought in the new government was to have pluralism in the electronic media, especially the TV. So government actually was in fulfillment of that grand agenda of the people of this country. So I think, and governance is also, something that is not static, and as a result, you keep improving on a lot of things, especially policy issues.
All right. For the sake of the public, what are the requirements that one must meet to have a license?
Well, you go to Pura, and first, that's where everything starts. They are the technical advisory arm of the government on that. The application forms are there, the requirements are there, and those requirements need to be fulfilled. Then Pura will review and then make a recommendation to the minister to either issue a license or not. But that also does not exempt the discretion of the minister to even disagree with an advisory that comes from the regulator.
What are the different criteria for when to be issued a radio, TV, and newspaper license?
No, newspapers, you go to the Attorney General's chambers. It's just like any other business, and then you register. But for electronic media, you have to go through the the regulator, which is Pura, and there are different types of license. You have a commercial radio license. You also have a community radio license, and you also have a TV license. But we also are now graduating from the analog setting, which means that now you cannot be providing content at the same time you own the infrastructure to provide the signals. I don't know whether that is too technical for you, but what that means is that all the TV stations now are what we call content service providers. They only own a studio and the equipment in that studio to produce programs. And then we have a facility now that will be responsible for distributing the signals of all the TV stations or content service providers. So that is the new policy now, because it is no longer an analog setting where you own the studio, you have the studio engineers, and then you also have the transmitters, towers across the country, and then you'll have the transmitter engineers. That is a very expensive mode of doing production. So now we are doing the unbundling, where the TV stations will only be limited to content service, and their content will be distributed by a signal distributor, which will ensure that across the country, all the TV stations have the same equal opportunity to be seen and their programs to be heard.
Mashallah, that is a good one. What is your government doing? A lot of people are saying that your government is trying to suppress the voice of dissenting views. Why did you shut down King FM and Home Digital FM during the 3 years Jatna saga, and equally arrest their managers last year?
Well, that was a purely security operation. It was not the Ministry of Information that actually closed down or arrested. By the way, this ministry does not have the power under the law to arrest anybody. Okay, so it is not true to say that we are pouncing on voices of dissent. Today, this country is one of the most freest country when it comes to freedom of information and and distribution in this country. In the world, in Africa, we have gained big in our ranking on Freedom of Information Index, and we continue to improve on that since 2017, year in, year out, and we continue to show the efforts to ensure that people have the information provided to them by information producers. And it is ridiculous for anybody to think that this government is pouncing on the freedom of information and information dissemination in the Gambia. That is not the case. The facts are there, and that for the past 4 years, Gambia continually climbs up the ladder of Freedom of Information Index, and at a very alarming rate, very high, and we are rated very, very, very high indeed.
In the past 2 years, our own media house, Gambian Talents TV, has been victimized.
By who? Victimized by who?
Yes, in 2019, one of our reporters was assaulted by members of the Barrow Youth Movement during the President Meet the People's tour. Your government promises to launch an investigation into the matter and compensated victims, but still nothing has been done until this minute. What can you tell us about this?
No. When you say Barrow Youth Movement, what was there to show? Because I was never aware of this particular incident. It was never brought to the attention of this ministry. And I remember during the Meet the People's tour, I think, one of the media houses, I think, is that the incident that you're referring to?
Yes, our media house and the government spokesperson
came. But that was not the Barrow Youth Movement. I think we should be truthful here. You wanted to take a picture of one of the interpreters who was not happy with that.
No, this is the case when one of our reporters was out, and some of the was out reporting, and there were people that said they would not go to the tour because they were not there was no car provided. So they happened to take that, and then the interpreter came and said, you should not show anything negative about the tour. And the reporter said, we're here to show everything that is happening. So that was what happened.
Was this not the event in Janjambure?
Yes, and they spoiled our camera.
In the country then.
Yes.
But that's what I'm telling you. What I saw on your own website was a fracas between you and an interpreter.
Yes. And yes.
So what has that got to do with Barrow Youth Movement?
Yes, it happens to be when we were interviewing those people.
But was the Barrow Youth Movement that assaulted you, or that had a fracas with you, or the interpreter?
One of the interpreters. They were they were there, and then the Barrow Youth Movement, they also came and then joined, and the government spokesperson apologized openly during the tour.
That's what I'm coming to, because notwithstanding that this was a fracas between you and the interpreter, the government took the initiative and even stood at an event live, and the spokesperson read a statement of apology. I mean, so this is one important thing to say, that it is not sanctioned by the state, it is condemnable, and we don't encourage attack on the media. For God's sake, I mean, if there is anything, we want to make sure that, there is that cordial, relationship between the media and the state. At the end of the day, we may not actually be friends, but our divergence on issues is purely normal. I mean, a government and the media, of course, hardly agree on anything. But that notwithstanding, you want to encourage divergence of opinion on issues that the government is doing. This is all about democratic governance, and this is what is being encouraged in this country.
Yeah, but then your government promises to launch an investigation and also compensate the victims. But until this minute, we didn't hear anything.
Investigations of alleged assault are actually conducted by the police. I can find out what is the level of this particular matter.
Yeah, but my media house, I am the head. But until this minute, now getting to 2 years, we didn't hear anything.
Yes, I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt your credibility. I don't doubt what you are telling me. But I'm also telling you that because, I mean, matters of this nature is handled by a special and a different institution, I have to ask, what is the situation with it?
All right, then we're waiting.
Wow.
Thank you. Your government was widely praised, and a lot of people will say they have issued license to 3 different media houses, that is TV license. What is your reaction to people who believe that this was just a way of your government trying to convince the people that you respect democracy?
The records are there for themselves, Fatu. You don't need to go into any argument over, people who always want to bring in, unnecessary argument on every issue that, actually happens in this country. I mean, people are entitled to their opinion. But if you go out also, at least you have quite a number of people in this country who are also happy that we have at least 5 different TV stations now in the country, apart, not only GRTS. Okay. And also, I mean, the current dynamics in the TV media industry require that we have at least a good sizable number of content service providers, because the policy that we are trying to encourage is for the Gambian people to have a choice of different TV stations so that they can produce enough local content for people to know what is happening in their own country, to appreciate their own culture, and then appreciate that Gambianness in programs. So that will also require that we give out, TV license to people now that we have our own, digital terrestrial infrastructure that is being rolled out right now. You cannot continue to maintain that kind of monopolistic policy that actually was happening in the analog era. This is digital, and the more TV stations you have on your bouquet, the more people will also actually rush, to buy the set-top boxes to watch your own programs. Locally produced programs, and that will also bring in, good source of income and employment for the young people, because then the creative industry will boom. Some of these TV stations will, of course, contract drama groups, cultural groups, producers, private producers, independent producers to produce programs for them, because then you want to maintain a 24-hour, TV station on the DTT, which is the digital terrestrial, network. Like right now, most of the TV stations that we have actually operate from morning to maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That is because it is so expensive to be maintaining all these signal stations, transmitter stations, at the same time maintaining your operations, your productions, and your staff. So now, what we want to encourage is for everybody to migrate on the digital setup, and that will also require you to have good programming of your own. I think our policy is that at least 60% of what you have on our digital terrestrial network should be local content. So that will require a lot of work. I think apart from GRTS and maybe QTV to some extent, I doubt whether any of these new establishments actually have that capacity to be able to do that. And that's where the contracts with the content service providers, so the independent producers actually come in. So this actually looks good for the country. That's the trend now across the world.
How about people who believe that you were trying to impress the international partners such as the EU, UN, China, and bigger democracies just to get money on them?
Why should we impress anybody? Democracy is an important component of our life, and this is what our people fought for. This is what we have been fighting for 22 years. We have got that democracy now, and democracy also means giving people the opportunity to express themselves. You don't have to go and impress anyone. We don't even need to impress anyone for that, and we are not impressing anyone, but we will also do things that are right in this country, in line with our constitution and also social norms.
This is just a follow-up. Don't you think that that statement is believable, because you placed this moratorium less than a year after your donor conference in Brussels?
No. I explained to you earlier why the moratorium is in place, and I doubt whether any commercial operator, media operator, is actually happy with the current trends. Those who know and understand the future of this profession will tell you that we need a robust policy in place. We cannot continue to just give out license to people on an assumption that the right things are going to be done by them. No, you have to set the policy, and that policy should be robust, should be, at least innovative enough to deal with the challenges that we have in the sector.
What is your reaction to people who believe that your government is following the footsteps of Yahya Jammeh? In short, you're 6 and 9.
Do I have to respond to that? I don't have to respond to that. That is their opinion. At least the vast majority of the people of this country who are enjoying the freedom of speech, who are enjoying the democracy in this country, are happy that things are going the right way in this country. You will not get everything right. Let me tell you that. There is no country that gets everything right. And because this is governance, you learn from the mistakes and you correct those mistakes to make sure that you have an acceptable functioning system. I mean, anywhere in the world, I mean, that actually accepts democracy must accept the challenges also of democracy that come with it. So we don't need to respond to the, prophets of doom. Who always think that is either their way or no one's way. And because they don't agree with you, they will try to cast aspirations or things that they themselves know are not true. I mean, at least the good majority of the people of this country who are by themselves, witnesses to what is happening in this country can give ample testimony, a lot of testimonials of the right things that are happening in this country.
Congratulations to iAfrica. Is this a permanent leave that everyone interested in applying for a TV license will get?
No, I mean, you see,
a TV or is iAfrica an exception?
No, it's not iAfrica or whatever. You go through the process and you have to meet the criteria to be given a TV license.
What is the criteria?
No, but you have to go to Pura and ask. I told you the regulator is there. Okay? We want to make sure that the right processes are put in place. The TV sector is relatively new. I mean, not more than 3 years when we liberalize. And at least you have some functioning, policies there that can help guide you on a number of things. Although the first hiccup, happened, and it has to be noted that we've learned this, from those lessons. So now, I mean, anyone who comes with an application for license is scrutinized, at least under my watch, to see that some of those hiccups, initial hiccups, are not repeated again.
When did you leave the band? Because as late as on this Monday, I was personally at Pura to inquire about this ban. And according to the issue of the moratorium.
No, moratorium is, I told you, is commercial radios. That's what I told you.
So how about the issue of this license? Because for TV, because I have gathered information that
the TV, we have not put any moratorium on that. I never told you that. The moratorium is on the commercial radio stations because that is the sector that has to be properly regulated. It is not regulated. That's where the problems lie with competition and all those things.
So who is responsible for the issuance of TV license? Because whenever you go to Pura, they will tell you information is not
that is not true. I mean, you go to Pura and pick your application.
I have been there for quite so often, almost 4 times, and anytime I go, it's like TV license are not yet around.
I cannot speak for Pura. Let them clarify that to you.
So can you take us through the process?
I don't have to, because I told you that you have to go to Pura and pick up the application. The application is very explicit, what you need to bring, what you need to have, the qualifications and everything. When they do their assessments is when it reaches here for the signature or not. Yes.
So it means that anybody who is interested should go to Pura.
That's where it starts.
So how about people that have been going there but they cannot get any?
I cannot, because I don't know that. I don't run Pura. Pura is not under me. I mean, I have no, operational oversight, over them.
All right. Yeah. So if this is brought to your table that people are interested in applying for TV license, what will you tell them?
when they come to me.
Yes.
Why would they come to me? No, they don't have to come to me. Because I don't actually do that. You go to the right institution, which is Pura. Yes.
So how about if they also refer you here?
Why would they refer them to me?
All right, then Pura, we would be coming for you. So, Honorable Minister, we know you're very busy, but we cannot also be here without talking about other issues. Recently, we have seen the Vice President, Dr. Aissatou Touré, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs return from Switzerland to sign a bilateral agreement between the Swiss authority. What can you tell us about that agreement?
Well, I mean, I know the Foreign Ministry issued a statement on this, and I have no further comment but to associate myself with the statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
What is your reaction to people who believe that all these clauses are just to camouflage the public? In fact, this deal was an exclusive to deport Gambians from Switzerland.
Well, as far as I was informed, I have not heard or been briefed on any issue of deportation of Gambians from Switzerland. The statement that I read from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is explicit to the extent that it is a bilateral cooperation between the two countries, and that it is meant to also strengthen certain institutions in the Gambia to effectively function, and also to, deal with, the issue of migration in a very just manner. So that's all what I saw in the statement, and I have associated myself with that statement. I mean, the last time when I was asked, I said that statement is explicit enough.
Back in November 2020, a flight carrying migrants deportees landed at the Banjo International Airport. Until this minute, your government remained mute about this issue. We had made several efforts to get information from government, but to no avail. What is your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, I know that sometime last year, I think some Gambians, were deported from Germany, and this was purely in line with their internal migration laws. The information that we got from the Germans was that these were people who exhausted all legal remedies to remain in their country. They were involved in certain things. Some of them, they had failed asylum cases. Some of them were involved in, violations of the law. They were taken to courts. A due process was followed. The courts presided over their cases. At every stage of the appeal, they lost. And as a result, their law is explicit that when you go through the legal process and you exhausted all your legal remedies, you can be deported back to your country of origin. As a responsible government, when you go through that type of thing, we have no choice but to accept our citizens back, because it is an acceptable thing everywhere in the world. In this country, it happens. When people come here, they commit crimes, or crimes that the courts believe are serious, and they are sentenced and they exhaust that process. And if the courts rule that they should be deported back to their countries, we comply with those rulings, and then we deport them back to their countries. So I don't see any problem why our people here will embark on this misinformation spree, that Gambia government is accepting people to be deported, but they are not also asking who are the categories of these people. Because it is not everyone that is being deported, but those that have gone through a process and they exhausted their legal remedies. And as a responsible government, we cannot allow our people to be stateless. They are not wanted in the countries where they are, and then we cannot also reject them. So we have to accept them, and that is why immediately they come, we have, programs that will integrate them successfully in their communities. But also we work with a number of them to start a life. They are provided with projects, they are provided with livelihood support to see that they do something that will help them to start life again. You have the IOM project that actually works with the government of the Gambia to integrate some of these returnees, but also provide them support, livelihood support, to be independent enough in the country here.
Can you tell Gambians the type of deal your government signed with the German? How often will a flight carrying deportees come to the Gambia?
No, I don't know that particular issue, but if there is any agreement to deport, say, Gambians, as you put it, of course, it is that type of situation that I told you about, those that normally exert their legal remedies. And their courts have declared that they should be returned back to their countries of origin. It's not even only the Gambia that is affected by this. A lot of countries, are affected by this. And as a result, for us, I mean, what we do is that if they have exhausted their remedies and the courts in their arriving countries declared or ruled that or judged that they should be deported, of course, as a country, a responsible government, we will have no choice but to accept our own citizens.
Mhm. Yesterday we were at the airport because we learned that there will be a flight on its way to the Gambia. Unfortunately, there was none during the time we were told it was going to land. Was there any flight actually scheduled to come from Germany?
I don't know, to be very honest with you. I don't know. But I think the media will also do a great justice to this subject. If you don't stop at the rudimentary reporting that people are deported, they're accepting, I think people should be professional here, because, the time and energy that you invest in this should also be directed. Even a portion of that should be also directed at finding out, maybe from the German authorities, either here or through their press offices that you can do online, to know what type of category of people are these. I mean, are they just any ordinary person that they've met in the street, or just people who have gone through, a judicial process, and that process finds them culpable to be returned back to their country? I think that should help all of us, so that we end this speculation, because we have been telling you all along that as far as we are concerned, the ones that came so far were put through a judicial process, which was seen to be credible, to be fair, and to be transparent. And after the end of that process, they were considered as people who should be returned back to their country. You don't also expect us to sit here and not accept our citizens to continue to languish in jails in foreign countries. Their times have been wasted. They are not given the opportunity to work. They are not given the opportunity to have skills. And they are just languishing in jails there. If the opportunity can be provided, because they have exhausted their legal remedies, to be returned back and we give them support, I think that is not also bad.
Mhm. So why is it that during this deportation, sometime last year, we have not seen any government officer at the airport to welcome the deportees, but instead they were put at horrible places that even media could find it very difficult to know which side these people will be coming?
No. I don't know much about the arrangements. I mean, but I know last year, towards the end of the year, we've agreed that any plane that is to land here with those category of people, government should be duly informed so that we can make arrangements for government and its partners to be at the airport, to welcome these people, take them to a facility where they will be counseled first, provided with a lot of information, what they can do now that they are in the country. Then we give them some small package, I think, 50 euro or 100 euro. I don't know how much they give them to go back to their community. And then after a few days, they can go, go back to the center that actually gives support to the returnees. I think, and we have been doing that since then.
There is a widespread allegation that you have been paid by the European Union to facilitate this deportation of Gambians from Europe. What is your reaction?
That is not true. And I thought, as a responsible journalist, rather than asking me about an allegation, you will go out and verify the veracity of the story.
And that's what we did. We had interview with some of the deportees, and this is what actually they said.
I mean, they said, he said, she said. I mean, it's not journalism. That's hearsay.
But then,
no, hold on.
We interviewed them.
Hold on, you interviewed them. I thought, I mean, there are always two sides or many sides to a story.
And we are with you.
You are with me, I'm denying it. And I know it is not true. Okay? Why can't you go to the EU also to ask?
We did that. We had an interview. We had an interview with them, and I will refer people to the Government Talents TV for them.
So, but what did the EU tell?
They refer us back to the government to answer that question. And here we are with the Minister of
So I'm also telling you that the Gambia government has not received any bribe from any country to accept our citizens back to the Gambia.
Are you aware of the security risks associated with this deportation? We have interviewed these boys, and most of them from Germany a couple of years ago had explained to us that how they know how to make bombs, and some of them will even do certain things for the country if they are deported. Why will your government facilitate the deportation of criminals to destroy the country? Of recent, we have seen somebody that killed.
I think you have to be careful with the choice of words that you are using here. I mean, Gambia government is not in the business of facilitating any deportation. I told you that, and you've answered your own question, that these are people that said they can make bombs and whatever, and that they were involved in criminal activities. I thought that's what your question is. This is precisely some of the reasons why some of them got into issues. They are our own people, okay? To be convicted in Germany does not mean that we should abandon our people. They are our people. When they come here, that is why we have put in place corrective measures to ensure that we provide counseling, because some of them may be involved, maybe victims themselves. That is why they were involved in those type of crimes. Maybe they were used and misused, okay? But when they come back to our country, of course, we have no choice but to work with our people to ensure that they are fully integrated. That is why we have a package for, under the IOM, project to, help these people. It is likely that not everyone will be, beneficiaries of this, but at the very least, we make sure that quite a number of them actually, are integrated and integrated successfully. Nobody wants to be involved in crime, all your life. Nobody wants to be in prison all your life. So some of these people that are being accused of being criminals, they may be victims. And that is why we should all be very careful not to label them as criminals. Let us see them as our people who struggle hard. They went out of this country, found themselves in those countries, and unfortunately, they are returned back because of issues that they have, with the law. Now, as a country, it is our duty and our responsibility to see that these people are supported, these people are helped, these people are fully integrated. And that's what we are doing. I don't think it is right and proper to refer to them as criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What is your reaction to people who believe that your government could have negotiated a better deal for them?
But Gambia government does not dictate the migration policies of other countries. Okay? I mean, what we have done, and this is on record, is to work with all countries where this issue is persistent to see that those that are to be returned are returned in a manner that befits dignity.
A lot of Gambians in Europe, especially those who went through the back way, seems to be disappointed with your government for facilitating their deportation.
You are using
according to what they say. That is what they said, Honorable.
No,
so
you see, you have to understand.
this...
Hold on. Mm-hmm. You have to understand one thing. Mm-hmm. Migration is a very explosive issue. Mm-hmm. And we understand the issues that some of these people might be saying those things. Because imagine somebody who risked his or her life, to cross the Sahara Desert, spend more time in a very horrific, conflict zone like Libya, then cross the Mediterranean in some very frightening situation, only for the recipient country to tell the person that, no, I'm not going to accept you, you have to go back to your country. Those sentiments are well understood, okay? And that is why the Africa-Caribbean, countries, the ACP countries, are working with the EU to have a common position on migration. That is a work in progress, okay? This is not a problem for the Gambia alone. In sub-Saharan Africa, especially along the west coast of Africa, this is a persistent issue. Just like it is for Afghanistan, Eritrea, and Syria now, and a lot of countries. So, countries are working within blocks, to come up with, solutions around these issues.
Mm-hmm. So can you look at the camera and talk to families and people that are at the back way, and most of them are really frustrated, and they're saying that they're disappointed by your government.
No, but
can you talk to them?
Hold on. You have to understand one thing. It is not the government of the Gambia that is responsible for the internal migration policies of those countries where they are. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you go to a country, you make yourself available to an immigration department. Of course, you have to go through their internal process. That cannot be influenced by the government of the Gambia. We cannot be dictating as to how those migration policies, are implemented. Okay? I think what should be seen at the level of this country is to provide and work with the Ministry of Youth and other relevant sectors to provide the necessary facilities for our people here, that they will not have to risk their lives to engage in those type of things. Right now, you have seen the efforts that are going on right now in the Gambia, where the Ministry of Youth is working with youth groups in communities and also in villages to give financial support to young people to start their own businesses in this country. I mean, it started in Banjul, where Some of them were given almost $1 million, some have $1 million. This is meant to empower them in this country to start their own businesses. That support cannot be given to every single Gambian, but at least it is an important good start because something is happening. This in addition to other support that is being provided by YEP, by the EU, by the government of the Gambia, and other support services. So things are happening.
Now on COVID-19, a lot of people widely criticize your government for contributing to the spread of COVID-19.
No,
the president, hold on.
Yes,
let me just finish my question.
That's not true.
Let me just finish.
Please. I mean, this is very disingenuous question.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen the tremendous efforts that the government has done and is still doing
mm-hmm.
to curb the COVID incidents in this country. So it is not true to, bring that, even to remotely bring that suggestion. Yeah,
but then the president was on a nationwide tour where we have saw thousands of Gambians gathered. This week it is the launching of the NPP party, and thousands are expected to gather at the Independence Stadium. What is your reaction to people who believe that your government is not taking COVID-19 serious?
That is not true. I mean, we are very serious about COVID-19. And wherever the president went, everybody, except those that may be far from, the crowds, were provided with masks. And we also observe the protocols. Not necessarily that we are not serious. So I think it is not true. Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and you have seen. I mean, I can understand why all these discussions, because it is President Barrow, and his government. But I think it is also not far-fetched to look beyond the shoulder and then ask, what about those that are making the allegations? What are they doing with their crowds?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have seen a lot of other people also gathering, and they don't. In fact, in most cases, you don't even see a mask on them. So I mean, should not also be discussed. I mean, so that we all have a common discussion on that issue.
Mm-hmm. So, but then leadership lead by example.
No.
He is the head.
Hold on. You see, Fatu.
Mm-hmm.
You are also bringing in hypotheses that actually may have no legs to stand on. Okay? I told you how we provide masks for everyone at our events.
Mm-hmm.
How we even ensure that before the end of our events, public health officials will take to the podium and talk about COVID-19, the impact, what we can do to prevent or to protect ourselves. So all those things are there because we take this thing very seriously.
Thousands of people gathered. Can you facilitate masks for all of them? And will everybody wear their masks?
Anywhere President actually went during the tour, even before he arrived, people would be provided with masks. That is always something that has been happening.
Are there any social distance?
Well, in some instances, social distances may be difficult because they are crowded events. But it is not only social distancing that can help curb the spread of the virus. You can also use face masks. You can also use regular hand washing. And you can also ensure that adequate information is provided to the people. And we have been doing those ones.
Some are saying that the president should postpone or, cancel his NPP luncheon. What is your take on that? Will the president cancel the NPP luncheon or it will still take place?
I cannot speak on that, whether it will be cancelled or not. I mean, it will be dictated by prevailing circumstances. And because we have not reached that bridge, I don't want to give a speculation.
And then the past 2 weeks have been very chaotic at the Banjul International Airport as travelers are asked to provide COVID-19 test result and still forced to be quarantined at their own expenses. This got them very mad as a reference, as some of them reference to the president tour, among other reasons why government is not taking COVID-19 serious. What is your take on this?
I think you are also not doing justice to your audience because government issued a press release. I think towards the end of November, going to December, I think, where we stated categorically that those coming from high-risk countries, and these countries are listed, in the press release, would be subject to quarantine at their own expense. This press release was issued and it was shared with all the partners, the airlines, and the media. So I can understand, yes, I mean, if you come here and you've not been properly informed on those things, but the government has done what it could do to ensure that the information was made widely available to the people.
If you're following the Gambian Talents TV, we have been saying this and we have even read the press release, but some of them said they don't mind to go for quarantine on their own expenses. But if government can be going out and doing tour and doing all the rallies and bringing people together, they should not also go for quarantine.
No, but I mean, which countries are they coming from?
Red zone areas.
Okay, so, the Gambia is yet to be categorized as a red zone area, isn't it?
Yeah, but they came with their testing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, some of them who came with a negative test result were tested, and I think, some were found to be, infected again.
All right. So, sir, I think this is almost the end of our interview. But the last question is, travelers to the Gambia have expressed concerns over the $20 that they have been tax imposed on them. What can you tell us on this?
Well, I mean, that is a policy that is already in place. And already it is widely made public to intending travelers to and outside of the Gambia. So it is already a policy that is enforced. I cannot do anything about that, unfortunately.
This is my last question. A lot of people believe that you are still at the United Democratic Party. Some people don't believe that, the Minister of Information will leave, United Democratic Party. So some people say you are just with the borough government just to be nice, to also give information to the United Democratic Party. What can you tell us? Is Ebrima Sillah still at the United Democratic Party, or?
I thought that has been made very explicit enough. I mean, I don't need to be in any group to give out information to anyone. And I can tell you, there is nobody in any political party in this country that can tell you that Ebrima Sillah even once gave me information on anything. I am very professional. If they have had that, they would have gone out and say it. My position, I don't hide my position. If I am not with Barrow, I will go out and tell him right away I am not with him. If I am not with UDP, I will go out, but they know that. I don't hide my opinion. I am not a wolf in silk clothing. I am one person who is true to my opinion. And I know that, yes, those that don't like you will go out and say all those rubbish. Do I care about that? No. I don't even have to lose a second of a sleep over that. As far as I am concerned, I am true to my word. Yes, I have a lot of friends in the UDP. I don't abandon people just because of political issues. And this is important in life, that we make this thing very clear. In this country, there is nobody here who can tell you that I don't have a relative in another party, I don't have a friend in another party. But the core principles of what you believe in, should be the one that should guide us. And that is, I believe in what I am doing. I believe in what I belong to. And there is nothing that can waver me from that. I was part of the UDP. I left the UDP and they've all known that. So why would you come here and make this as if, I mean, I don't own my opinion, or somebody have to think for me. Somebody has to direct the way I think. I'm not that type of person. If I tell you this is either for you to believe it or not, that is not my business. Okay? And I know the consequences of sitting as a public officer to give out information, because whatever you give, let me tell you one thing. What I cannot prove outside, even if I am asked, I don't discuss it. Whatever I discuss in your absence, I can tell it to you on your face. That's me. So I don't have to pretend as if I need to keep a position to play that flowery game. No. I am who I am, and I don't also have to, go out as if, I want to make other people happy, to do certain things. That is not right. I will not do that. But where I believe, where I belong, and what I believe in, I expressly say that and saw that. It is left to you people like those who are so much into fizzy opinions and whatever to continue to do that. My position is very clear. My opinion is very clear. Okay? So nobody thinks for me and nobody directs my thinking. Okay?
So you are NPP?
I'm not only NPP, I am one of the founding fathers of NPP. When NPP was being formed, it started in Bambabanko, in Combo South. And, I'm from that region. Mm-hmm. And I have a good reason why I am. I have nothing against anybody being in any other political party, but you should also respect my opinion of being in another political party of my choice. At the end of the day, our friendship will stay, our issues will stay, our relationship will stay, but that should not affect our political belonging. And that's what I always believe in.
What is your reason for joining the NPP?
Well, since, you keep talking about, whether I am UDP, the issues are there. I mean, I am convinced that, I am part and parcel of that one. And being part of the people who also, were, integral in the formation of that party, of course, I am very much part of everything that the NPP does and how the NPP thinks.
What is the difference between NPP and UDP?
You go and answer that yourself. I know that we are a disciplined party. I know that we are a party that wants to, make a big difference on the lives of the people. I know that we want to really do things that will be completely, innovative to bring in, the necessary changes to the lives of the people of this country. What other parties are doing and how they are doing, that is their own business. It will be good if you can go also and ask, or you organize a debate for us to all bring our manifesto on the floor to talk about, what we want to do on education, on health, on agriculture and other things. That is far better than all these heightened back and forth discussions on issues that have no, bearing on our lives. We have a manifesto and we are prepared to, discuss that manifesto with anyone that is interested to listen.
Indeed, this is the last, your final message to Gambians that are watching.
Well, I only have my final message for people like you who are doing a good job in bringing out the views of the people, to also continue doing that good job, but let us also do it in a way that befits the tenets of the profession. It will only help us in our work, and it will only help us as we go along in helping people make informed choices in this country.
That's quite interesting. So, Gambia, you were watching the Gambian Talents Forum live and direct here with the Honorable Minister of Information, Communication, Infrastructure. I must say this, and I always say, no one owns Fatu. I own myself, and my work is what I will always go in for. But I must commend you and say thank you very much, and kudos to you. And I would love to see every other minister, do as you do. When we knock their doors, let them open, and he respect time. This is not to promote him, but Lila Figures, this is what I've seen here, and I must say thank you, sir.
Thank you.
If you want to receive monies from UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world, Supersonic's money transfer has got you covered. With the largest payout network in the Gambia, you can now receive your monies anywhere you are, from Kartong to Koina, with less hassle. Yes! You can receive monies from your family and friends in UK, Europe, USA, Canada, Switzerland, and the rest of the world with our safe, secure, fast, and convenient service that offers you the largest selection of payout locations in the Gambia. Supersonic's money transfer. We are currently in 34 African countries and counting, giving you quality money remittance services that are second to none. Visit the Google Play Store or the Apple Store today to download the Supersonics Money Transfer app and enjoy excellent money transfer services only with Supersonics.
الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعد نبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم بعد ولو لمر لالو أني جيب لالو برنامج من كانالو كان ولمو من يندكك إن شاء الله وبرنامج من كاسم بالينا ولمو نت بامبو دمفا ani Alhaji Ibrahim Ba Mama Koto Seattle Washington atbe Vancouver nala len lungu men wala bekla jumalunti jumalungu wuraro janna wato tala lulu ni tala wuraro kada tala woro alla madu ni maka na lafida ka jube fanam albetala mindo wala mu Gambian Talents TV ala barika. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam bitik moo leen ay nuyu askan bi, jox leen ma seen noppa si wàllum téléphone di Samsung di Nokia Spark xeetam boo xalaat Salam bitik am na ko. waaye tablet yaa ngi fa, router yaa ngi fa, data card yaa ngi fa. xale yi nag seeni tablet ñu fa, xale yi ñu bég na Salam Boutique bu ka, waaye mag ñi ñu kontaan xataay leen ñu dem Salam Boutique si Kairaba Avenue Johnson yi Manjai Kunda bi foofu la gaay nekk. soo demee si Salam Boutique di nga fa fekk téléphone yu baax. call leen Abdoulaye Cissé si 3939939 mbete it ngeen call ko si 5050150 nuyu leen ma Salam Boutique.